All systems go. Clear for liftoff.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the UFC show. Shout out, I want to say it right away, to my man Rio, last week, filling in for me. Big Marley Rio, I followed him a lot. I made 6 teams in the qualifier. I took second and I took fourth. Now, unfortunately, that pays you absolutely jack shit. $85 a second, $4,700 the ticket to first. But hey, second and fourth out of all of that. Shout out to you guys. I use your content a lot. Appreciate you again, Rio. Appreciate everyone tuning in as always. Big Marley, I'll throw it to you right away. You are looking smooth. I love the shirt. I love the hats. I wish the card was as smooth as you're looking because it's one of the worst cards of the year for DFS. No doubt about that.
Yeah, not one to be excited about, really. Not one that I'm even excited to watch, but DFS purposes, it's got to be the worst of all time or one of the worst of all time. Only 10 fights. We have one of the new chalkiest fighters of all time, probably. So this is a fight where all I'm really trying to do is think of ways to get different and kind of hoping to get lucky. But I'll be playing a lot less on this card. I would definitely won't be having 150 lineups. I'm going to have closer to one lineup than 150, most likely. You're on mute.
Come on, I'm on mute already. What a mute donkey. What I was saying is this makes me feel a little better. Not too much better, but a little better. Someone that is tuning in, watching the shows, took first place. I needed a little more Umar. Sandhagen got it done. Nick, you watching the show, you're in here. Awesome stuff to you. Finally beat you. I hope to see you in the finals. I hope to see you or Tambo or JB, multiple people at SHIPIT Nation there. Gary has 2 tickets. Awesome stuff, Nick. Congratulations to you. Going to be fun when that starts, but definitely big congrats. Makes me feel a little better that someone I do know over YouTube is in there. So congrats to you. Ben, you're always the first one in here, man. Absolute, man. Hope you're doing well in life. I mean, man, there's really not much more to say about this card. 10 fights, absolutely stings. I'm not 150 by any means. I don't even know if I'm 20 entering. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm playing cash games. I know that. I'm always playing cash games. Outside of that, we were talking a little pre-show. Like, I do think maybe single entry. I'll build one team. Sometimes I throw in the 555. I don't even know if I want to do that this week, though. So it's tough. Broad slate overview quick. Couple big favorites. And the biggest favorite on the card is $7,000. Chris Gutierrez. Late notice replacement. He's fighting Lee Kang or some bum, it looks like. Minus 550 is Gutierrez. He's 7,000 because he was an underdog previously. Pricing was already released. So we have a 7K fighter taking on a $6,700 fighter. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I usually don't like to see that. But on a card like this, I'm actually happy because the card's so bad anyway, you need a little added wrinkle. Then you'll get to the main event. It's 8,300, 7,900, heavyweights, expected to finish. Like, it's really hard to get away from that fight. Gutierrez fight looks like it's hard to get away from. At the end of the day, we're not going to lie to you. It's a bad card, bad for DFS, bad for entertainment. But there is money to be made. And, hey, it's violence. It's fights. We're going to always break it down like usual. We put in the work. Initial thoughts on this slate. Leaving money, definitely. I mean, when the biggest favorite, $7,000, obviously money becomes a lot more irrelevant. You want to get different. You got to leave keeps. Fade the main event. Fade that fight. Again, we'll go through it. But initial thoughts on this one. What's going on, Smarty? Hope you're doing well. One of the college football goats out here. Hope you're doing well, man.
I'm going to be looking. I mean, we'll talk about it throughout the card, but I'm just looking to get different on this card. I haven't even built lineups yet. All I've really done is thrown Gutierrez in a lineup and seeing what all that can afford up top to kind of think where everyone else is going to go. And I'm just going to try and get like 3 spots different in that lineup, something along those lines to maybe ship solo with my possible single entry this week.
Yeah, I was going to say single entry. If there's a solo shipper on this card, I would be shocked. That means either main event bust, Gutierrez isn't there, Zalal, like Barlow, Yeah, I mean, good luck. To be honest, if I'm playing 150, I mean, I'm not, obviously. If I was playing 150 or even in the flagship contest, 30 dupes, I think I'd be very, very happy with on this card. Like, would not be building for solo shippers on this card by any means. But that's why I'm definitely taking my volume back. Free money Sundays are coming up. There's a million MMA. Next week's pay-per-view season. Hey, it's all bankroll management. You don't got to play the same every single week. Before we go into it, though, I'm talking some free money Sunday, baby. Almost here. There's no better time to get in. ShipItNation.com. Best NFL package for the price around. I think it's the best out there, not even including the price. All you got to look at. Competitors, we have it up there. Some competitors, you're paying $700, $800 more dollars. And that's if you want. We have a Shiptimizer, an optimizer included in our $299. Not only that, you get college football content. I just talked about Smarty in the Discord. I already saw him dropping some of his week 1 plays, some of his week 1 bets. DGen, projections, the Stone, such a good college football content. A lot of people, they charge out there. I think everybody, actually. You get it for free with the NFL package. And if you sign up now, anytime, this will end before first day kickoff. I think it's September 5th. If you sign up, you also get MLB, MMA, which you're watching right now, NASCAR, PGA. PGA actually still open in the contest because it got pushed back. So much content. I mean, you can see right here, the graph speaks for itself. Pay less money on touts, on content, play more in your contest so then you can win money. That's the goal of it. You got to actually play in your contest to make money. No more affordable place in the industry. Still projections, ownership. You get the Shiptimizer. So excited for the NFL season over here. ShipItNation.com. It'll be right at the head of the banner, $299. And of course, definitely get in the Discord if you do join. Also have monthly, weekly packages as well if you want to check that out. But this is the best deal we have going on. And of course, shout out our partner at Drafters, Drafters.com. Best ball season. Slow drafts are blowing up my phone left and right. We will, Big Marley and I, right after this MMA show, going to be going live, talking best ball, doing a best ball draft. So we'd love you to join us. And if you don't have an account, head over. They will match 100% from $20 to $100. Shout out Drafters, the best spot to draft on. That's enough of me talking. I got to say hi to a couple more. Aaron's in here. What's up? Ross K's in here. Jason Turner. Appreciate all of you on. Whoever hasn't said hi, like 22 of you out there, 21. Hope you guys having a great Thursday night, or gals as well. That's enough talking for me, Big Marley. We're going to bottom to top, like always. First fight of the night. Little rematch action. Stephanie Luciano taking on Talita Alencar. 8,500 Luciana. 7,700 is Alencar. One of the closest line fights on the card. Minus 156 Luciano. Alencar plus 136. And this fight is, wow, it was the most likely to go the distance on the card. It's plus 195. So it's one of the most likely fights to go the distance on the card. The third, to be exact. Break it down for us. Any interest in this one to start?
Not a lot of interest, but I do think it's in play, especially to get different on this card. These ladies fought, I think it was a year or so ago. I think on the
Maybe
Contender
two.
Series. Oh, yeah, 2 years ago.
I think so. The Contender Series.
And Alencar won the first 2 rounds just by wrestling. She shot for 24 takedowns in that fight, only landed 4 of them, but she controlled the fight for 6.5 minutes. She won the first 2 rounds, and then she gassed out, and Luciano just pieced her up in the 3rd round for a 10-8, and then it was a draw. So if that happens again, nobody's going to be on the optimal lineup. But I do think they're both in play. Alencar because of her wrestling, and she'll be low owned. And then Luciano has a better chance of finishing the fight really in any round. Her striking is just on another level compared to Alencar. Alencar's striking is horrible. She has to go to wrestle in this fight to have any real chance. If she's going to go out there and try and have a striking match, then she's probably going to get dominated and finished at some point. So my preferred play would really be whoever is lower owned. But I think I mean, I would be avoiding this fight if it wasn't for Gutierrez being on the card. But with Gutierrez on the card, I'm looking for other fights to get a little bit different. I'll probably throw, if I'm making multiple lineups, maybe I'll use one of each. But if I only make one,
Whatever fits.
Maybe Luciano's my preferred play since I am going to pick her to win. I think she'll take 2 rounds on the scorecards. Definitely not a good DFS fight to target, but if you're trying to ship it solo, then maybe take some chances for that reason.
And at the end of the day, there's 10 fights. Assuming no fight stacks are on the card, and if there was a card to fight stack, this can be one. The problem is I don't love stacking the main events. Not really too much stands out. Like barn burner, like the Carol Hossa fight, maybe, but like I'm not a stacking fight person. I almost never do, so I still don't like it on this card. So you're assuming 6 out of the 10 fights, you got 6 winners. So over half of these fights will be on the optimal. So I'm going to keep this one in my pool. I still have a couple fades, but I'm going to cap them both at, I don't know, 30%, like, which is a lot of wiggle room. 30% is definitely overweight. I'd be fine if I got 5%. I'd be fine if I got 30%. Because, again, this is a fight you can add in to be different. You got the Allen Carr takedown upside approach. You got Luciano in the striking. Last thing to note on this one, again, if it's a 12-fight card, this fight definitely is not going to be played by me. Fortunately, it's not a 12-fight card. Inside the distance props, Luciano open plus 365, got all the way down to plus 300 2 days ago, and then money came in a little bit on the over, so now it went from plus 365, plus 300, now back up to plus 325. Allen Carr, on the other hand, opened plus 365, and the over kept being hit. So now it's plus 475, which shows a big Marley saying Luciano has more finishing upside. We'll keep it rolling. Yeah, my man, Hebrew Cheetah, appreciate you again. Left-handed God. Him and I were in California watching the Topuria Volk fight. We were there. Left-handed God put on a show against Quinlan. Very fun to watch. What's going on, Little Neck? I see you in the NFL preseason streets. Again, we'll talk a little preseason. Wonder if Eric Gray gets a little hype in the last round after what he's doing today. But again, we'll talk about that in probably 45 minutes. Next fight on the card. Second biggest favorite, Yusuf Zalal taking on Jarno Aarons, minus 440. Zalal plus 340 is Aarons. This fight's plus 155 to finish, but all the finishing equity on the Zalal side, plus 175. Aarons plus 850. Very easy for me. I am not playing Aarons. Again, I will not call you crazy for playing anybody on this card. The ones I really don't like, they're going to be some of the lowest owned, but you still need to score. I think Aaron's best path is, I don't know, a decision, maybe? I don't know. I don't think he wins. I think Zalal is better everywhere, and the clear path for him, Aarons has been taken down in all 3 of his UFC fights. Zalal, so this is his second stint in the UFC. Won his first 3, lost his next 3, had a split against Blackshear, gets cut, comes and wins 3 first-round finishes in Combat Sparta, I believe, then absolutely put it on Billy Q as a dog. Looked phenomenal. Still only 27 years old. Looks good, man. I mean, I think it's easy as day. Takedown, grapple, wrestle, probably get a submission. His submission is now plus 275, and it opened, let me get this correct. Oh, it did open plus 275, actually. Went plus 275, plus 285, back down. So I think Zalal by sub. If he doesn't get a sub, I think it's wrestling and control time. But this is the question, Big Marley. Like, you can't, you can, but I don't like the idea. If you go Gutierrez, you play someone in the main event. Yes, it's very easy to play Zalal because salary really doesn't matter. But that's such a popular combination. We'll get left-handed God, Barlow in there as well. Like, to be honest, I like some Gutierrez, even though I'm not going to lock him. I'm going to lock the main event in 20 and below if I do play it. But I don't know, like, take a chance on build as Zalal and take a chance on Carol Hossa, or play as Zalal and take a chance on an 8,800 fighter. Like, I think you can get away, and I think it's easier to get away from a Zalal Barlow than it is a Gutierrez in the main event. So again, it's game theory. I'm talking it out. Like, this, all this card is game theory wise. Like, it's more than just picking winners, etc. I got Zalal. I'm not playing Aarons, but if you play Zalal, be cautious. Either fade the main events, leave a heck ton of salary. Gutierrez, main event, Zalal, and just 3 really low-owned plays, something like that. So that's all I got for this one.
Yeah, Aarons looked much better in his last fight than he did in his first 2 UFC fights, but Zalal looked like a title contender in his last fight. So I really just don't see how Aarons beats him either. So I agree. I don't think I'll be playing Aarons. And then Zalal, I'm just less interested in him now because his ownership is going to be 20% more than it would have on Monday before we had all the Gutierrez chalk. Because you can afford Gutierrez, now you can afford Zalal as well. So my plan is, I mean, if I'm using Zalal, I'm not using Gutierrez. Spoiler alert, I'm not using Gutierrez anyways. But I might throw Zalal in the lineup too. I'll just have to think of ways to get different elsewhere. But I think my new plan is maybe just to avoid him as well and focus more on the mid-range or something like that. Because I'm not really even trying to ship with 30 other people on this card. I'm trying to get way different with my single entry this week. So possibly just fading this fight and then hoping Zalal wins the decision. I do think he's better everywhere, and I do think he'd probably score closer to like 80 than he would 100 in this card, and that's probably not going to make the optimal lineup. So my preferred play is to just fade the fight, but yeah, give me Zalal to win.
Man, that's twice today. Come on, title. Next fight on the card, Carl Williams, Janita Dinez, minus 200. Carl Williams, plus 170 is Dinez. This fight is minus 140 to finish. Both inside the distance props. So the plus 170 dog has a better inside the distance prop at plus 200 versus Williams at plus 215. Minus 140 again for this fight to finish. I like this fight. It's the classic wrestler versus striker. Carl Williams, the wrestler. Dinez, the striker. The problem is, and everyone's talking, if you watch any show, they're going to talk about it. Austin Lane, a former baseball player, literally just a striker, didn't know he had any wrestling in his game, took down Dinez, controlled him, and the dude looked so lost on the mat. Carl Williams on Contender Series, taking down Penn State wrestler 3 times, controlling him for 14 minutes. The thing is, all Carl Williams does when he takes you down is just lay on you. Like, there's no damage. There's no submission upside, really. However, plus 215 was a little better inside the distance prop than I expected. It just, I really think, shows how bad Dinez is on the mat. On the feet, all Dinez. On the mat, all Williams. So this is a fight I'm going to play. Like, Dinez in a win can outscore Gutierrez easily. Perfect. Williams, he can outscore Zalal, Barlow, all them as well. So I'm playing this fight, but, I mean, how does it bust? Carl Williams does absolutely nothing. He lays on him. No damage, no strikes. Scores 87 at the price. Not good. Lays on him for 2 rounds. Dinez gets a 3rd round knockout. Probably doesn't get there. So it's not an all-in fight by any means. But, I mean, we have 10 fights. 6 of them are optimal is what I'm telling myself. I'll have both sides of this fight for sure.
Yeah, this is my second favorite fight to target on the card. I think we're going to get a big score from the winner. If Denise wins, it should be a knockout, and I think it would be more likely early. But if Williams wins, it's probably a decision, and it's probably going to come with 10-plus minutes of control time. He could land 7+ takedowns in this fight if he really needs to. So he's definitely my preferred play, and he's got 3 decision wins in the UFC so far. He's averaging 105 DraftKings points. I'll take 105, especially at 9K.
You think he can get up enough, though? Like, Bresky got up. Like,
you're probably right.
That's the only concern. But go ahead.
What are we? Yeah, I guess he had 7 and 8 in his other 2. You're right. I mean, shit. But still, I mean, just with all that control time, he will land strikes on the ground. He's probably not going to finish Denise on the ground, but he can land 140, not significant strikes, but just total strikes on the mat.
Like Tallulah last week.
Yeah, all those some of those, and then like 12.5 minutes of control time. We'll get at least 3 takedowns in there. I'll accept that. So yeah, Williams is the preferred play. But on the other end, I think if Denise wins and Gutierrez wins, Denise probably outscores him at way less ownership. So I think he's a great pivot away from Gutierrez. I like Denise as well. So I don't think I'll have more than 10 lineups on this card. So I do think I will be all in on it. But it would probably be like if I have 10 lineups, I would guess I have 8 Williams and 2 Denise, something like that.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I prefer Carl Williams as well because if Austin Lane's taking you down, I think a guy that literally all you wants to do is take you down does. But, I mean, on the feet, like Denise can knock. Denise has first round, probably one of the most first minute win bonus on the slate, I think. Because it's every fight starts on the feet. He's a lot better striker. He has power. Very rare do you say that about a plus 170 dog. But, yeah, I mean, if he gets taken down, I don't see him really getting back up, is the problem. Let's keep it rolling. Next fight on the card, Carol Hossa, Panny Cans at minus 205 Hossa, plus 175 is Panny, plus 325 for this fight to finish. All the finish equity on the Hossa side at plus 350, Panny plus 1100. So I'm not playing Panny in a 20 entry and below. She has never scored more than 85. Talking about Hossa side, though, she scored over 100 plus in 4 of her 6 wins. All of those came by decision. She just scored 84 last fight in a L, 204 significant strikes she landed. So I have interest. Like, there's lineups. If you play Gutierrez in the main event, I'd be fine with Hossa as your highest priced fighter. If you're trying to solo ship or whatever, almost solo ship the flagship, like 100 plus in 4 of the 6 decisions, over 6 significant strikes landed per minute, 1 takedown, 1.22 to be exact, per 15 minutes. Now, do I love it? No, but it's a 10 fight card. It's a way to get different a little bit, and she's done it in 4 of her 6 fights. She's always doing something. So more than likely, the winner probably scores 80. I don't know. But Hossa's gotten steam as of late. Minus 205 now, was just minus 145 a week ago. Volume, takedown upside. I mean, Panny has no takedown defense either. So, yeah, I'm going to have some Hossa. I don't like Panny. What about you? He hit harder than Tafa. I would say Denise hits harder than I mean, if they pit the punching bag, I don't know. It's pretty close, but I think Denise is the better striker.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, agreed. Better striker, probably better kicks, maybe not as heavy hands, but yeah, I was really high on Williams over Tafa. I am less confident in this matchup. I'll say that. What are we? Oh, yeah. Panny, easy fade for me. I think she is in play to win a close striking match, but she's playing for more of a 10x type of score, and I'm not interested in that. I don't think she has any real upside, so I'll just X out Panny. And then Rosa is somebody who I like. I do love the volume. I think she's more likely to shoot takedowns, and ownership should stay low because Vegas has this as like an 82% chance of going to a decision. So, yeah, now that Rosa's going to be low owned on a card where I'm trying to get different, I like me some Rosa. So give me Rosa to win 2 or 3 rounds. I don't feel confident in her putting up a big play, but at the ownership I have her at, I'll definitely probably double the field or something, at least on that.
Yeah, you and I see it the same. Like, are we confident? Of course not. But 8,600, like I'm fine building Zalal lineups. And again, I'm talking flagship stuff. Zalal lineups and drop down to Hossa. That's a way you get different. Now, I wouldn't do that if like I didn't have Gutierrez in there probably. But I'm fine leaving 2K plus in Gutierrez lineups. And Hossa is definitely someone I'm fine having my highest price fighter after that. Again, because Gutierrez, you leave 2K with Gutierrez, just assume he's 9K. Assume he's 9,200. Like, that's how you got to think about it on a card like this. We'll keep it rolling. Next fight on the card. Again, appreciate everyone hanging out. And many of you I know watch on playback. We appreciate the like button, appreciate the subscribe button. We always appreciate your support too, whether you watch live or on playback. Next fight, the best one to target, in my opinion, outside the main event. Charalampos Gregoria taking on Toshiyama Kazama. Minus 250 Gregoria, plus 210 is Kazama. Minus 250 for this fight to finish. Gregoria minus 125 inside the distance. Kazama plus 330. I like both sides. Kazama side very easy. If he wins, can very easily outscore Gutierrez. So it's an upside play there. I think Gregoria, though, the much better fighter. Kazama has not been a good run for him as of late. The chin very suspect. So I'm on the Gregoria side, but we need upside. Kazama will be leveraged a little bit. He has upside. I'm definitely going to play some, even though it's an uncomfortable click.
Yeah, I'm more interested in Kazama now as a pivot play than I would have been earlier in the week before the free square. But I do think Gregorio is just a better all-around fighter. I think he's a solid wrestler who could score 100 in a decision. But if this goes to a decision, I would expect him to slow down, especially if he is wrestling in this fight. But he's minus 125 to finish. I just think he has lots of paths to a high score. So he is my preferred play. And then Kazama would be just more of a straight pivot off of Gutierrez if Gregorio's not in my lineup. So I agree. Good fight to target. take either side. But for me, Gregorio would be closer to a core play where Kazama's like a hedge and a pivot.
I will say this is the one I'll give ownership on. Kazama 14%, Gregorio 44%. On this card, I think Kazama's got to be one of my favorite game theory plays of the week. And again, that's just literally on this card, I think you're literally better off not knowing anything about MMA. And that's the not knowing anything about MMA, looking at props, money line, all that. Kazama's a play for me this week. Because if you
I'm
win,
gonna have my wife make my lineup for me this week.
there you go. You're probably better off. I might do the same right there. That's a good idea. I like it. Let's keep it rolling. Next fight on the card, Yana Santos taking on Chelsea Chandler, -143. Santos +123 is Chandler, +250 for this fight to finish, which is the second least likely on the card. Chandler, a lot of the finishing equity at +300. Santos, +800. I'll let you start. What you got?
Yeah, I don't really know what to think about this fight. I do think it's going to go the distance. I think Chandler's probably our better striker at range. I think she would be the higher volume striker. So if this is a pure striking match, give me Chandler. I also think she could pay off a $7,800 salary just with striking alone. She could mix in takedowns, but I think Santos is the better wrestler. I think Santos is probably going to try and control this fight up against the cage and maybe try and get a couple takedowns along the way. If she can land takedowns, that's Chandler's weakness, is being put on her back and not being able to do anything. So if that's the case, Santos is in play, but like holding her against the cage isn't going to cut it. So we need those takedowns to come at some point, and we need her to rack up those strikes on the ground. But her ownership is low enough where I'm interested. So this is one where I'm fine with either side. I think I'd probably start with Santos as my preferred play, start building my lineup, and if I need to move down, then I'd take her out, put Chandler in, see what we could do from there. But yeah, I'm more interested than the field will be in this fight, even though I think the most likely outcome is that it goes the distance and the winner probably doesn't put up a big score. But I think that they could score, either one of them could score over 10x. So I'll get exposure at low ownership. But give me Santos to win like 29-28, just with a lot of cage pushing.
Yeah, I'm with you. Besides, my preferred play would be Chandler. You can leave 600 plus for more money. I think she has more wrestling, lay and pray upside there. I mean, just a big body, marches forward. But I think Santos is the better striker. I mean, Chandler just plots forward and eats punches. Yeah, I mean, it's an ownership play, and I prefer Chandler because I do think, like, if you tell me they both win, I think Chandler has more upside and wins. Could definitely be wrong on that, but we saw it against Stoliarenko. Scored 84 last time too. Maybe a couple takedowns, lay and pray. More than likely not on the optimal. This was a 12-fight card, would hardly have any interest, but going to keep both of them in my pool as well. Like, I like it more than Pandy Kanzad. I like it more than Aaron's. Right now I have 3 fades on the slate plan, 3 underweight tags. That's plenty for me on a 10-fight card. And that's 20 entry and below, as always. Appreciate that, Joanne. Good luck to you this week as well. And then Nate D, always appreciate you hanging in here as well. Smash that like button is right. We appreciate it. Let's keep it rolling, Big Marley. I mean, man, it's sad. Usually love these MMA shows, and I like it. I'm always enjoy talking fights, but I know I'm going to have plenty of volume. I know there's a lot of money to be made. I just know I'm not going to be playing. Like, I'll probably have zero lineups in the flagship tomorrow. Why? Like, at the end of the day, I'd rather go play blackjack, gamble somewhere else. Like, come on, not the card. I'll be watching, of course. I'll definitely probably be a little more main focus on Team USA in the gold medal game, which is like an hour and a half, I think, before the card starts. So, hey, there's fights, though. There's violence. I will definitely be watching. Next fight on the card, couple left to talk about. Danny Barlow, left-handed god, taking on Nikolai V. That's all I'm going to say, Nikolai V. Danny Barlow, -360, one of the biggest favorites on the card. Nikolai +295, -160 for this fight to finish. Barlow -130, Nikolai +675. Again, I think this is the one, like, Barlow's going to be one of the most popular fighters on the card. Everyone loves left-handed god. His performance last fight was amazing. Massive power. You got to get different somewhere on this card. I think it's Nikolai, and I think it's Kazama. If they win, they can outscore Gutierrez. You sink a lot of the other lineups as well. you leave a lot more salary on the table. Yeah, I mean, I hate to say it, and probably going to people in the comments, oh, you think Danny Barlow loses? Like, you like Nikolai? No, probably. Gun to my head, Barlow knocks him out. But if you want to win all the cheese in the flagship, it's a lot easier if Nikolai wins than Barlow. So, yeah, that's my preferred play at ownership. All the leverage off of Barlow. I don't know. He probably loses and gets knocked out. What do you see?
Yeah, I think Barlow's the better striker, higher volume, more dangerous. Varetnikov, I think he's a decent striker himself. He's pretty dangerous on the feet too. I think he's more likely to shoot for takedowns. But I liked Barlow a lot more on Monday before Gutierrez came along as a 7K biggest favorite on the card. Because of Gutierrez, now Barlow's just going to be crazy chalk too. So I now I want to get away from him. I still think he probably knocks him out. Could be in the first round, score 110 points. But if I'm using Barlow, it's because I don't have Gutierrez in my lineup, and I feel like I'm different enough in that case. But yeah, I'm looking to get away from him as well. And now my preferred play of the two, my preferred leverage play of the two is Varetnikov. I think he's a lot more live than the line thinks, and he's not going to get any ownership, where I'm cool getting that leverage on him. And then now it's direct leverage off of that Barlow chalk as well. So yeah, I think Varetnikov is my preferred play of the two. Solid pivot away from Gutierrez this week, but Barlow probably knocks him out.
Yeah, you said it the same way as I said it. I love that when you're on the same page, especially, I mean, it's going to be a hot take. I don't think very many people will be saying that, but again, this is a game theory card of all game theory cards. You don't need to know nothing about MMA. Look at props, look at ownership, leaving money, etc. That's the name of this slate. No doubt about that. Keep it rolling. 3 fights left. This one should be good. Very good. Chepe Mariscal taking on Damon Jackson. Minus 205 is Chepe. Plus 175 is Damon Jackson. Minus 130 for this fight to finish. Chepe plus 160. Damon Jackson plus 325. So I think Chepe wins, but Damon Jackson's my preferred play because A, he's really live. Like, I mean, very solid fighter. UFC vets, dangerous on the ground, has some power. I mean, what was it? Like his brother died against the day before against the Sabatini fight or something, and he just knocks him out in less than a minute. There was some narrative on that no one knew, but he showed power there. I mean, it could have been for the higher ups who know. He isn't really known for his power, but what I'm trying to say is he has 100+ point upside. He's 7,100. This is a guy that you can leave 3K on the table, 3,500 on the table. Plus 175 isn't a bad money line. So you're getting a lot of upside for a lot of savings. If he wins, he can outscore Gutierrez. You can play Gutierrez, Kazama, Damon Jackson, the main event. Like, those are stuff that I'm looking at that you can do. So, yeah, I think Damon's my preferred play because of salary. A lot easier to leave money. But I like Chepe too. And let me check our ownership quick. Yeah, I mean, we have him lower owned than Gregoria, Carl Williams, Barlow, and Zalal. He's still going to get ownership. There's no doubt about that. But of the 5 up top, he's the lowest owned. I like Chepe too. Volume for days. I think he can knock out Damon Jackson. I like this fight a lot. It should be fun, real life fight. What about you?
Yeah, solid fight. I give Chepe the striking edge. I give Jackson the grappling edge. But at these odds and at these salaries, Jackson's for sure my preferred play. And the plus money talked me into him as my pick to win as well. I think the first and second round could be him, and he could win on the scorecards, or he's got 15 submissions already on his record. He could make it 16 here. So yeah, I'll be heavy on Jackson this week. Maybe heavy means he's in my one lineup, but
100% heavy.
He's my preferred play over Gutierrez for sure at this point. But Chepe, I think, is a solid pay up as well. He's just one where you got to get different. You can't throw Barlow, main event, Gutierrez in your lineup, and then still use Chepe. Yeah. That's what everyone's looking to do this week. So just think of ways to get different. But my preferred play is Jackson. I will take him to make it 16 submissions on his record.
I love it. I absolutely love it. 2 fights left, Big Marley. The one that we definitely need to talk about. I mean, you've already tipped your hand in this one. Chris Gutierrez Quang Lee. Minus 550 is Gutierrez. Plus 400 is Lee. This fight's plus 140 to finish, and all the finish equity on the Gutierrez side at plus 150. Lee plus 915 inside the distance. Gutierrez opened minus 350 in this fight. Has taken $2. I expect this fight to probably close minus 650, minus 700. I mean, you're talking about the number 17 in the world coming off a main event against Song Yadong, taking on someone that was supposed to fight in Contender Series in a couple weeks. I mean, you couldn't get a bigger mismatch. However, it's MMA. You've seen crazier things happen. 4-ounce gloves, dude swinging punches, random stuff can happen. I would not blame anyone for playing Lee. All the leverage against by far the chalkiest fighter on a very, very chalky card that's hard to get different. So I don't blame anyone. I'm not going to do that. I think it's more burning money, but I get the game theory side. The more interesting thing is fading a 75% owned Gutierrez at 7K. Yeah, I'll let you take it away because you make the points for it, and they're clear points. So go for it.
So I mean, the best thing about Gutierrez is
if you want the Venmo, it's my name's. I'm not even gonna say. I don't need the Venmo, but I appreciate it.
The best thing about Gutierrez is his leg kicks, and I do think that Lee's leg is going to be there for the taking. Gutierrez will probably chop it down as this fight moves along. But aside from those leg kicks, he doesn't have a ton of power with his striking. He's not looking to wrestle. And he has 5 UFC decision wins. In those 5 wins, he's not even averaging 10x this 7K salary. So what I'm hoping, maybe what I'm hoping isn't this, but what I'm thinking is that he goes out there, wins all 3 rounds on the feet, but scores 75 to 80 points, and then just gets outscored for the optimal lineup. What I'm hoping is Quang and Bang goes out there and knocks him out at like 0 ownership, kills off 75% of the field, and I will be using me some Lee in this card. So I think Lee looked okay. I didn't see anything bad about him other than his opponents. So you can't really tell how good he is because all of his opponents really sucked, and this is by far the biggest step up on short notice. So it's not that I believe in him, but I think he is the more dangerous striker. He's the one that's going to be bringing it in a brawl. I think he's more likely to wrestle. Lee is by far my preferred leverage play. And I won't be using any Gutierrez on this card. I'm going to straight X him out of my player pool, and I'll be looking for other ways to get different. If you're playing cash games, easiest lock of all time. You put Gutierrez in there. But I won't be doing that. So for me, it's Lee or pass. But I do think Gutierrez wins a decision.
Yeah, all that makes sense. I got Gutierrez by TKO by leg kicks. I think he's going to spam like 4 early, and I think Lee's going to be toast. I think it's going to be similar to the Fernandez fight last week. Leg kick, and at the end of the day, he was either debating switching stances or going to get it kicked again. He got knocked out. I can't remember dude's name off the top of my head, but Fernandez scored 115. I think the leg kicks will be money, and man, I mean, he's one of the best leg kickers out there ever. And if you've been following me for any bit of time, know leg kicks my favorite thing. So I'm a Gutierrez fan. I don't think he can survive 15 minutes. If so, Quang is really, really tough. But everything you said makes sense about the leverage with Quang. So I get it. I will not be having it, but yeah, totally understand. Appreciate you, Steven. You have a good night as well. Main event time, Big Marley. This is a fight I will have 100% of in 20 and below. Sergey Spivac taking on Marcin Tybura. Minus 170 Spivac. Plus 145 is Tybura. Minus 190 for this fight to finish. Tybura plus 245. Spivac plus 125 inside the distance. So it's a rematch from 4 years ago where Tybura wins a unanimous decision, was able to control Spivac every single round, landed 2 takedowns. Spivac's definitely gotten better, though. There's no doubt about that. Tybura is now 38 years old. However, I think Tybura is the same fighter, and Spivac has gotten better. This fight, I want to take the lower owned fighter, which I think will be Tybura, and you leave 400 out. You have 400 savings with the Tybura side. So he's, I think, my preferred play because I think it's a little easier to get different that way. But I don't know. Like, this is one, whatever optimizer, use the Shiptimizer. I'm like, I want 100%, so I make a group, at least one of these 2 fighters. And again, you can fade this fight. That's a lot of leverage you're getting. If it somehow busts, that's a way better chance to be unique. I'd rather fade Gutierrez. I'd rather leave 4,000. I really think this fight will be on the optimal. Tybura scored 87 in a 3-round win. Hard for me to see outside of like a DQ Cody Brundage type stuff that this fight doesn't make it. You can also leave a lot of money, obviously, because 83 and 79. But again, I think Tybura's lower owned. I think with the savings, build a Spivac lineup, you can go Tybura, etc. But I don't know. Like, I literally think this line's a little wide on Spivac, but I don't know. I'm not confident. If I had 70% Spivac and 30 Tybura, I'm fine. Vice versa, I'm fine. Now, I don't want 80-20. I think 70 is where I want to cap it. That's kind of how I'm playing this fight, though. I think my lean's Tybura because it'll be lower owned and the game theory, and it's easy to get different. But again, if I have 70 Spivac and I like my script, I'm totally fine with that as well.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with all that. I want to be all in on this fight, but I could see me like using Barlow and then maybe not using this fight just as that being another way for me to get different. But yeah, ideally, this is going to be one that I'm clicking on at the start of my hand builds. I prefer Spivac, though. I think he has the higher ceiling. And I think early favors Spivac with his wrestling and grappling. And then late probably favors Tybura. Probably means that he's stuffing takedowns, keeping it on the feet. And I think he is the better striker, more dangerous as well. But yeah, just a good fight to target. And I think what I would be doing is I would be putting my favorite Spivac lineups in again, taking him out, putting in Tybura, and just duplicating the other 5. But yeah, I think that with this being in the mid-range, 5-round possibility, either one of them could finish. We're probably going to get the winner of this on the optimal lineup. So I'll prefer Spivac. But if I need the $400, which I doubt I will, I'm fine going down to Tybura. And I feel like if I'm a little bit too chalky with my Spivac lineup, I'm fine going down to Tybura anyways, just to get a little different that way. Yeah, not a confident lean. I think the line's getting a little wide as well. But if someone's going to score 130 points, I think it's more likely Spivac. And if Tybura wins, I think it's more like 100 or something like that. Either way, it's probably on the optimal lineup, but I'll take Spivac.
Yeah. You and I mean, I don't know if we've agreed on a card, pretty much everything as much as this card. Now it's only 10 fights. Again, the main story, the main takeaway, you have to get different in some way, whether it's fading Gutierrez, fading the main event, leaving 4K on the table. You have to do something unless you're fine with 200 people and sharing that as well. But I personally don't like to play that way. My value will be very, very low, relatively speaking. Yeah, go collect what's going on. Perfect time. Show's just wrapping up. We're about to hop in the best ball streets on Drafters. So you find us on the YouTube channel, SHIPIT Nation, right here. We're going live talking best ball in a sec. G. Kiefer, appreciate you as well. Good luck to everybody this week. Big Marley, final thoughts for the people on a tough MMA card.
Yeah, I hope Gutierrez loses or doesn't score well, or no, I don't really want him to pull out after a lot because I'll probably have a little bit of quang and bang. But yeah, I just hope that Gutierrez is not on the optimal lineup. Think of ways to get different. Only 10 fights at best. I mean, it wouldn't shock me to see us lose one of those, and then I'm really completely off of this card. But try and be as contrarian as you can. Maybe have your little sister build your lineup for you. I don't know what you want to do, but yeah, think of ways to get different. But good luck to you, Title. Good luck to everybody listening. Let's ship it.
Absolutely. And again, all of our MMA content will be up tomorrow, like always. Projections, ownership, slate plan, tier rankings, fight rankings, everything you need. If you're not a member, no better time. NFL Free Money Sunday coming up. As you can see, no better deal out there in the industry. Get an optimizer, get college football content. You sign up today, tonight, tomorrow. You get all of our MMA content this week. PGA, NASCAR, MLB, ShipItNation.com. Of course, shout out Drafters sponsoring this show. We're about to head right over to Drafters and draft. If you don't have an account, no better spot to draft. They will match 100% up to $100. Best ball season is here. Good stuff as always, Big Marley. I will see you in a couple seconds while we go and enjoy a draft. Good luck, everybody. Stay safe out there. Have a good weekend. Big Marley, I'm Titletown. Peace.